So I'm gonna give you guys an update on the twin. It's running, so that's a good thing. Basically, I've been busting my butt for a few days. There's one small air leak I don't have time to get rid of, so it's not gonna be running perfect, but basically the way it stands is I either show up to barber with no bike or I show up to barber with a bike that's running at 85%. So I chose to show up with the bike that runs 85%. Basically, kind of what it comes down to is I think that when I sent the center section out, just the cranks with the center carrier out to Italy to have them rebuild it, I think when they did it, I think that the center section itself, the new section is just a tiny bit larger than the original one. So what's happening is the two aluminum halves are pinching down on that center section, and the center section is bigger, so it's not allowing a good fit and a good seal. I sealed it 3 or 4 times, I couldn't get to seal, and there's no time for me to split it, re-machine the center section, and do it all over again. So it's just going to be the way that it is. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to work. So basically that bike's not really my priority anymore. I want to get it running okay, get it running good enough. It's already, last year it was quick, it was pretty fast, and it had a giant air leak, it had all kinds of problems. So again, this happened to me last year. It was thrown together last minute, and that's just kind of, I tried really hard with this one, but some unforeseen circumstances didn't get done in time. So that being said, it's in the bike, it's got coolant in it. I just kicked it over, it starts, it sounds really healthy. So my next step is I have a new billet, too fast for a pulley that went on it. So I'm gonna have to have a little bit of learning curve with that. But that's on it. I gotta readjust the clutch, I gotta break it in, and then I'm gonna go through and just kind of double check my brakes, bleed my brakes, do my wiring, because the bike's been sitting for a year. So that's where I'm at with that. So I'll give you guys an idea. It's Wednesday. We pack up and load the bikes Tuesday. So obviously I don't work Saturday or Sunday because I need to be with my family. So that leaves me Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. So I have 4 days to get that bike done and reliable and good. And then once it goes to barber, I have to tear the carbs apart again, sync them again, and rejet them and tune them to get it dialed. So aside from that, we are also building a C170 engine, a Malossi C170 engine that we haven't figured if it's going to go in a chassis for drag racing or if we're going to use it for track. We haven't figured it out yet. Depends on how fast we get tires and wheels here. And then we got Bruce Chapman's pre-bug built as well, but just kind of show you guys what we've been doing this week. It's been crazy. So if you haven't been able to get a hold of us and we haven't been picking up the phones, because I'm buried in motors, Carter's buried in motors. There's a drag frame on one lift, there's a twin on another lift. My twin's out in the middle area getting worked on. So the twin is gonna be running 85%. It's not gonna be running perfect. It is gonna have an air leak, and it's just gonna be the way that it is. Once I get that thing running and good enough, it's totally not my priority. After that, I've moved on to the 200. So after barber, it's gonna be 100% working on the 200. And that's all brand new, all fresh. A lot of you guys know the twin started as used bottom end, which was a big mistake on my behalf. That's why I'm running into problems. That being said, live and learn. I didn't really know where these motors came from. I didn't know really much about them, and I thought it'd be cheaper to buy a used one, but it ended up not being cheaper and being more expensive. So just a lesson: do it once, do it right, do it new. If you buy something used, it ends up being more trouble than it's worth. Unless you buy a fully built bike, then you save money. But buying used engine, be careful, because a lot of times it doesn't work out to your benefit. So I'm gonna show you this nasty little dude. I don't know what this spider is, but I don't like him at all. Carter really hates spiders, so I'm kind of torn as to whether or not I want to let him live or like put him under a seat bucket of a bike that Carter's working on or something. But oh, an ant. Anyways, yeah, I don't know where this guy came from, but he's gonna hang out for the duration of the video. He's not very big, but he's really disgusting looking. So Carter, if you watch this video, I'll wait to see what you want to do with them, because I know you hate spiders. But anyways, so aside from the spider, I know I should crush him, but I know it's wrong at the same time. But I probably will just crush him anyways. But I won't show you guys that part, because if you get offended, if you guys are like animal rights activists or spider rights activists or whatever, I don't want to show you guys that carnage. So where we stand with the twin right now. All right, he's done for. Where we stand with this. It starts, what? He didn't die. Oh. I think there was 2. Sorry. So where I stand with this bike, it's together. I have one small coolant leak at the base of a cylinder, kind of a bummer, but I'm gonna get that pulled out. and get that fixed up. So same carbs. I have not changed the jetting yet. I'm gonna have to jet it and tune it, but I know I'm gonna have to change it in Barber, Alabama, where we're headed next week. So I may just wait to do it then. I am running a different pulley on the back. I'm running a billet. So I'll see if I have one out here. I'm running a billet, too fast rear pulley. So this is new. I have not. Oh, I've got another one floating around. There it is. So this is a pulley I'm running. It's new. I haven't ran it yet, so it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, but super nice piece. Too Fast makes it, Italian crafted. Awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. So I'm running that pulley and different variators, so I know there's going to be some tuning. I've got the timing set where it should be. Pipes are on, wheels locked down. So there's a few things I need to do. One, I got to fix that coolant leak. There's a tiny little puddle on the ground. It's not major, it's not internal, but I need to fix that. I need to bleed the coolant. I've got to dial on the clutch a little bit, get it close. The other thing is I've got these Magura Masters, and in the process of taking the motor apart, I got some air in that line. So I need to take this apart. I need to bleed the rear brake, because brakes are kind of important. Also, if you guys are looking for something and you don't want to pay a ton of money for Brembos, these Maguras are really nice. They're adjustable here. I want to say they're 250 bucks a side, something like that, where the Brembos, I think, said and done, are like almost $400 a side. So these are killer. I have really good luck with these. These have been really good. And I run the N2. I slammed on this with a 260 rotor, and that works out really well. So I just got my seat back from the upholster. Actually, I let a buddy borrow it because he needed it on his bike, so he borrowed that seat for a little bit. The seat's going to go on. I was running the vacuum fuel pump, but I think it's overfueling for some reason right now. Actually, I think because I had a vacuum leak last year, it wasn't pumping that much fuel. Now that it's sealed up better, it's pumping way too much fuel. So again, I got to jet it and whatnot, but super excited to have this thing back together. I miss the sound. It sounds awesome. It's been too long since I've heard it. So what I have is the ignition. My ignition just runs a tiny little LED light. I just put a tiny little LED light there in the bottom just for legality. I don't really ride this bike at night. I do have I just put a bicycle headlight kit with the battery pack on the handlebars because I don't have a charging system on this bike. So the LED headlight, I got to wire this up. These light up too, just for legality. And then what I have going on down here is I have a fuel gauge and I have a voltage gauge with the USB charger as well. Here, I've got one of them does the fan, which my wiring's not dialed right now because it's all tore apart. One does the fan, and the other one does the headlight. So if I want to shut it off, where it actually looks like it has two different brightnesses. But anyways, actually that I think does the taillight. It's been a while. Anyways, so that's what that does. I gotta put the seat back together. I'm gonna mix the VP 110 on this bike, but I'll go ahead and fire it up so you guys can hear it run. Open the door. There's like tons of traffic going on right now, but I don't want to smoke myself out at the same time. So for some reason, this bike starts really good too. See if I can start it here. Chokes off here. You see it dripping down there a little bit. That's at the base of the cylinder head on this side, so I'm going to go ahead and tighten that up and fix that. There you have it. So it runs. I just got to tune it, get it closer, get a little bit closer to the door here. So I'll say one of the challenges of the twin, one of the big ones actually, is I've heard some people say, oh, it's just a big motor, Brandon, the thing goes fast because you can slap it together and go. No, this thing is, I've told you before, it's a real pain in the butt to get dialed. So basically, when you have two carbs, you have to sync them. You have to make sure they're pulling this right amount of air, the equal amount of air into both carbs. So the way you do that is we've got a gauge that goes into the mouth of the carburetor, and when it's running, it's got a little dial on it, tells you how much air it's pulling in. So you change your pilot jet, you change your air mixture, you change your idle speed, anything has to be perfect. And also you have to remember is your throttle settings on the top too. When that slide opens, you have to open at the exact same time. So every time you change the main jet, first off, you shut the fuel off, you pull both carburetors, you empty both bowls, you change both jets, you put it back on, you sync them both again, you sync everything again. You run it, if it's not right, you do the same thing over and over and over and over. So jetting this thing is definitely really time consuming. It takes about an entire day to jet this thing just because of the syncing process, setting everything up right, just everything takes a lot of time to do it. So that being said, it's Thursday. I need this bike to be packed up in a trailer by like Monday, tomorrow or Monday. So this bike has to be done. I'm gonna try to get this thing 100% today. That's my goal, or really close. And the jetting's gonna be close. I know in Alabama, I'm gonna run richer, of course. So I'm gonna prepare for that and know that I'm gonna need to run larger jets. So I'm gonna go through, bleed the brakes, double check the wiring, fix a coolant leak, try to get the transmission close as I can, and go from there. And hopefully that should be solid. So I'll probably do one more video on this bike, just complete and done. There's gonna be some drag racing videos and stuff coming up, but this is pretty much it. I mean, it's pretty much there. Like I said, I have probably a day's worth of work jetting, bleeding the brakes, making sure my battery's holding a good charge and all that, because it's last year's battery. Again, actually, this is a good point. This battery I use a Yuasa, or this bike I use Yuasa batteries. My online phone's blowing up and we're not even open yet. So let me check, make sure it's not like some dire thing here. So it's not. So also with the online right now, because we're going to pack it up and going to Alabama for the Barber Small Bore event, just be aware it's really hard to get the online phone. Don't call the front service desk, because Carter and Chris are just packed full of bikes right now, and we can't have that line held up. So if you guys have online questions, the best thing right now is email, because I can answer them while working on bikes. If I get sucked into a phone call, it gets really, really hard. And we're always happy to help, but right now, just letting you guys know, we're just crazy, crazy busy with this stuff. So this bike's getting packed up and it's going, of course. Then Carter and Chris aren't going, unfortunately, but I'm probably gonna take the Baja just because it's fun. It's a fun little bike to ride around. Bruce's Big Evo Pre-Bug's gonna go. That's his bike. He's already paid for it, whatever. He's just gonna pick it up in Barber. We're gonna meet there. And then I'm gonna take the Grom, and there's another engine being built on the table, which we're not really gonna talk about yet, because we're gonna just bring something for fun that people don't really know about. So I'm trying to think of what else I'm gonna bring. I may put this Dio together up here as well, that I say pretty much every video, but priority is this bike. The engine that's on the table is priority. And yeah, so if you guys have any questions, ask. Again, this bike, when I get it going, isn't really gonna be, once I go to Barber and race and have some fun, it's honestly just gonna get put on the back burner, and then the 200's coming up next. But where I left off with the batteries, this is a really good point. So this is a Yuasa battery. So this bike has no charging system. I can run the fan for 8 hours on a charge. So I put 2 under the seat for when I do, because I take this bike on 50, 60, 100 mile ride. So last year I did anyways. Yuasa's a good deep cycle battery. If you want to run a battery for a long time, you don't want to run a charging system, don't get like a lithium battery. You want a high quality deep cycle battery. These Yuasas for the Zumas are like 120 bucks a pop, but I used these all last year. I did not put them on a charger for like 5 months, and they charged up fine and they were perfect. So you get what you pay for when it comes to batteries. Get a good quality battery. If you're looking at a battery that's 20, 25, 30 bucks, you're just gonna have to replace it. It's not gonna last very long. So If for the guys that don't have a charging system, but you want to run a water pump, a fan, whatever, UWAS is a really good brand. Western Power Sources is a good brand. The Firepower ones. Just don't get some odd battery. Don't get some cheapy special because it is not worth it. It won't work well. And again, you want the deeps. These lead acid batteries are going to be the best for longevity, and if you're running a high load, it's going to last a long time. So perfect example is this bike. So yeah, I'm gonna get the seat on. Fix a coolant leak, jet it. I got to pick up some VP 110 today. This bike, even though I've got it, I've got the squish set to run on pump, I'm gonna run on VP 110 anyways. Also, since I have you guys here, I made a batch of Yamaha Vino 360-degree billet intake adapter. So there's no intakes for the Vino right now, and this is really cool because this allows you to put a big carb on a Vino. So just had these made local. I just did a batch of 6, and I'm selling them at cost just because I can't mark them up because they cost so much money for me to make these things. So if I made a batch of 20 or 30, it'd be cheap, but batch of 5 is, I can't make any money on those things, but it's cool to have and people need it. So so yeah, that's this bike. Probably won't do another video on it, but you'll see it in the next videos we do. We're gonna do some videos next week, so stay tuned for those. We're gonna have a bunch of the motorhome trip to Barber. It's gonna be 2,500 miles each way. Should be really interesting because we're taking my older diesel pusher motorhome, pulling a giant trailer, weighing in at total of like 29,000 pounds. Hopefully Ed doesn't fall asleep because he said he gets the best sleep when he drives. So hopefully this isn't my last YouTube video. Because I'll be sleeping, and if he decides to take a sleep while he's driving, we're all dead. So hopefully that's not the case. So Ed, if you're watching, please stay awake, and please let me come back to my family. All right, so I gotta get to work. Thanks for watching. You guys have any questions about that bike, let me know. But it's 90% there, and I need to get to work and get it going.